Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. I'm very sweaty today. I usually try and film my videos directly following the gym. The reason for that is because I love to wake up, go move my body, get real sweaty, real fatigued, work out all of that stuck, stagnant energy that I accumulated from the night before, whether it be yoga, cardio, strength training, some sort of movement modality. And then inside of those sessions, I find that everything for the channel comes. The inspiration of what to do next, topics to talk about, discussions I want to bring up comes inside of the movement modality. It's like all of my most powerful downloads come into the vessel when I'm moving my body. So I'm sweaty because I came directly from the gym with what I want to talk about here today. And that is them. I think for so many of us, myself included, the biggest obstacle in the spiritual awakening, in the spiritual journey, in the journey to self, in the journey to healed, in the journey to happiness, finding peace, however you want to look at it, however you want to talk about whatever it is that we're doing here, moving from dark to light, doesn't matter. In the journey, I think one of the biggest obstacles that comes our way is them or they. For me, that manifested as them, the government. So at one point when I started to come to, you're like waking up from a dream sleep, right? Like that's what it means to have an awakening. Like if you've had a spiritual awakening and you've glimpsed the self and you've transcended physical reality and really touched the essence of who and what you are at a much deeper level, to give context to your life, if you've gone through an experience like that in any way, shape, or form, and come back from it, there is a you prior to that spiritual moment or that moment of time, and then there's a new you that's sort of birthed out of that moment, is how I experienced it. And it also happens, you know, it happens, I've read in books that it happens in a series of awakenings. Sometimes it's one single really powerful event. For me, I had one really powerful event followed by a series of smaller events that brought me from the being that I used to be to this new version of myself following those experiences. And as you transition through that veil, as you come out the other side into a completely new being with the information and the perspectives that you've acquired as a result of the events that you've gone through, that you've experienced, you have awakened, quote unquote, to something. For me, the awakening was, whoa, this is not the way in which I want to live my life. So as soon as you wake up, you kind of like look around and you start changing everything. In one way, shape, or another, we start changing everything that was because it doesn't match who we are anymore. We're a new being, but the reality in which we've been living doesn't just shift as instantaneously as we do. Even though as above, so below, it's all a reflection, the outer does take a little bit more time. It's denser, it's heavier. It takes more time for it to shift. Still can be pretty quick. I mean, within maybe 6 months to a year, I had shifted everything in the outer to reflect the inner. So that's pretty fast when you talk about like really changing and moving around all the aspects of your life to match the inner being, right? And of course the reflection assists with that. Like people and places start to just move in different ways around you because what you are inherently inside has shifted, and now that reflection has to be matched in the outside. I had it where I woke up and I started to play the blame game. It's all about the he said, she said bull. Play the blame game. I started to blame the establishment. I started to blame my parents. I started to blame my community. I started to blame. It's my school's fault that I made all these decisions rooted in ignorance. It's my teacher's fault. It's my parents' fault. It's my government's fault. It's taxes. They did this to me, them, you know? Donald Trump's the problem. Justin Trudeau's the problem. I don't know, you know? COVID is the problem. It's them. They're doing this to us. There's a they and there's a us. And they're the problem. They're the ones who forced me to live the way I was living. But now I'm exiting the matrix. When you wake up to the way you've been living and you decide, whoa, first of all, I don't know how any of this came to be because I was in a state of ignorance. So none of this matched who I was very well, and it certainly doesn't match who I've become. So I don't know how any of this came to pass. So inside of that sort of blurry looking back on the past and how you got to where you are, it's very easy to take the responsibility for your decisions and your actions made in ignorance and say it was them. Donald Trump's in office, it's his problem that I did all these ugly things with my life. No, it's It's not Donald Trump. It's not the government. It's not the taxes. It's not the school. It's not the teachers. It's not the parents. It's not the partner. It's not the friends. It's you. You chose all those things. This whole situation you found yourself in is your responsibility. But the Illuminati, no. No Illuminati. The very first aspect of why we end up doing that is because it's much easier than to take responsibility. Like, I have no money because the government takes me money from taxes. No, you have no money because you make poor financial decisions. So what is that? That's taking responsibility. That can be heavy. Now we have to admit to the ways in which we've been making mistakes. It's much more difficult to grow. It's much easier to blame and push responsibility away. But in the victim mindset of pushing responsibility onto somebody else, it's they, it's them, they're doing this to me. Inside of that, you lose all freedom. Responsibility is the ability to respond. If you have the ability to respond in every aspect of your life, it means you have the responsibility for every aspect of your life, but it also gives you, of course, that ability to respond, which means you can make real changes. You have real control over aspects of your life to bring about a brighter future, which is beautiful, but it's also heavy. Great power comes great responsibility, same saying. So that's why we do it, because it's much easier to turn on CNN and say, oh, the world's an ugly, evil, awful place. That's why I'm the way I am, because I just fit into this. No, the world is a reflection of you. You hold that vibration within. So then when you turn on the news, it keeps reaffirming the same reality in which you're holding inside and continuing to propagate, continuing to manifest, continuing to create. So it all comes back to you. This is your responsibility. Your responsibility. Every aspect, take radical responsibility. There's a book by Jocko Willink that talks a lot about this called Extreme Ownership. Take extreme ownership of your life. Everything is your responsibility one way or another. Okay, maybe that's too heavy at first. Every day, try and take a little bit more responsibility. And taking responsibility doesn't have to mean taking on more. You don't have to carry more to take responsibility. You can actually take responsibility for your life and realize, well, I've been carrying way too much, and put some things down. And be like, you know what? I don't want the ability to respond to these things. I've taken them on out of motivation that was in ignorance. I've taken them on out of motivation that I don't agree with now that I've awakened to a new perspective of the world, a completely new worldview. And I'm gonna put these things down, and then I'm gonna turn my attention to the few things in my life that I want to have the ability to respond to, because those few things I can manage well, and by managing them, give me my freedom. And that can be as simple as the way you bring in your income and how you manage your money, the food you eat, the exercise you do, so those two together are how you manage your body, and where you live in the world. And if that's where you want to start, let's just manage the basics. Let's just make sure I'm getting enough sleep. It's my responsibility to go to bed early. It's my responsibility to rise with the sun, to balance my circadian rhythm. Okay, cool. Now you have the ability to respond to that. That's the one thing you're responsible for. Go to bed. All right, let's put number 2. It's my responsibility to eat food that aligns with my being, which means it's my responsibility to eat food and feel how it feels within, and then make a journal, decide, okay, this feels good, this feels bad. Don't buy this again, buy this one some more. Or if you're a gardener, grow more of this, grow less of that. Okay, so we take responsibility for the sleep, we take responsibility for the food we're putting in. All right, perfect, that's 2 down. Now, the body has to be moved. We talked about that at the beginning of this video. So it's your responsibility to go to the gym. I don't know, whatever movement modality you want. It's your responsibility to practice Tai Chi in the park. It's your responsibility to take a yoga class. It's your responsibility to throw on an exercise video on YouTube and do some abs in the living room. Okay, it's your responsibility, perfect. You have the ability to respond. So now the body is taken care of in those 3 ways. Okay, perfect. It's your responsibility to clean the mind. Okay, it's your responsibility to sit in meditation for 15 minutes. Now you have the ability to respond to that. All right, and then it's your responsibility to bring in income. Okay, I want to work for somebody else, or I want to work for myself. 2 basic decisions. Decide between which one you want to do and go to work on that. And that's it, you're done. That's it, you're done. When you come out the other side of the spiritual awakening, my guess is it's very common for you to be overwhelmed by the realizations, by the new perspectives, by all of the ways in which now you're viewing the world that you didn't have access to before. It's a lot when we open ourselves up. Once you open yourself up and you get overwhelmed by it all, keep it simple, silly. Come back to, all right, I'm gonna manage my sleep, I'm gonna manage the food I put in, I'm gonna manage my activity, and I'm gonna manage where I live. And I'm gonna manage the money that comes in. Those 5 basic things. Master those. Master the fundamentals. Start with that. Take responsibility for the fundamentals. You have the ability to respond to those areas of your life. Perfect. Declare that. If the news is trying to get at you, if the Illuminati is trying to get at you, if the aliens are trying to abduct you, just tell everybody, look, I'm sorry, UFOs, y'all gonna have to wait to probe me. I'm gonna need a year or two where I'm just mastering my fundamentals. Slowly. Okay, 6 months. I've managed to get proper sleep, I've managed to get proper eat, I've managed to get proper exercise, I've managed to bring in a decent living, and I've managed to maintain and keep order around where I live. Okay, 6 months. All right, then add something in. Small. We put one brick down at a time, one to the next. Take your time with it. Master those 5 fundamentals, then start to add in more relationships. Then start to add in more stories. Then start to add in, okay, if you so choose. But you might find such peace in just mastering those 5 that you decide, this is my ability to respond to these things, and by focusing on these things, I am free. So then be free in those things. But if you want more, add them more slowly. There's no rush, it's samsara. You're gonna be here, you're gonna be incarnating however many times it takes. Learn all the lessons to graduate the earth school in samsara. So you have all the time in the world. If you asked the old me, how do you feel about turning 30? I would be heartbroken. I'd be destroyed. Because my identification with the ego mind would say, you're 30 and you haven't done all these things, what's wrong with you? With the new perspectives, now it's just a matter of how many times have I turned 30? How many times have I been here? How many times have I played this game? How many 30th birthdays have I celebrated? I'm gonna turn 30 now in this lifetime, I'm gonna turn 30 in the next lifetime, I'm gonna turn 30 in the lifetime after that. So okay, I got all the time in the world, there's no rush. Master the fundamentals. Take responsibility. Bring yourself the freedom you need. Okay, and that's by keeping it simple, silly. There's no need to look outside yourself, everything is from within. There is no them, there is no they. All of the perceived limitations are your manifestations. So challenge your perceived limitations by facing your fears. Now you can expand into your zones of discomfort, as Yes Theory says, seek discomfort. And in seeking that discomfort and challenging yourself, stepping outside of your comfort zone, you'll continue to expand your own sense of freedom. But if you're not ready for that kind of stuff, just come back to the fundamentals for a little while. Don't move forward until you know you're getting 8 hours of sleep every night, you're eating a healthy, nutritious diet, you're moving the body, you've got a decent income that provides the food and the gym membership maybe, or the things you need, and you've got your living situation under control. It's stable, it's secure, it's safe, you got the foundation in place. Don't worry about anything else until those are responded to. And that's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Hope this message serves whoever it needs to in your own journey. No such thing as them, no such thing as they. It's just us in here, baby. All right, namaste. See you in the next one.